world news. It's less than a day to go before Americans head to the polls in presidential elections. Mr. Trump has renewed his claim that the system is rigged against him after the FBI announced on Sunday that it had found no evidence of criminality by Mrs. Clinton in the latest batch of emails to be examined. Hillary Clinton, on her part, is trying to make history by becoming America's first female president. Well, BBC Africa's Zuhura Yunus is in Washington, D.C. And Zuhura, Hillary Clinton is not the first woman to run for the White House, is she?
Absolutely, Peter. Before I respond to that, I just want to inform you that I'm just in front of the White House, where either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump will be living here from early next year. And yes, Hillary Clinton wasn't the first woman to vie for presidency, and especially from the same party, Democratic Party. The first woman was an African American. Her name was Shirley Chisholm, and she did bid for presidency in 1972.
Stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
Shirley Chisholm was a woman of many firsts. The first African-American congresswoman and the first African-American to run for president. But despite being a pioneer for her generation, many people in America still don't know her story.
I knew that she died, I think, in an unfortunate...
Una Clarke worked with Shirley during the civil rights movement and remembers a bold, dynamic woman who fought hard to give a voice to minorities.
We went to many parties together in the old days as Caribbean Americans, so she is a legend in her own right. She's a woman that is very honest and very upright, and that's why she's come to be known as unbought and unbossed.
Congresswoman Yvette Clarke now holds the seat first won by Shirley Chisholm back in 1968, and says Chisholm paved the way for women like her to enter politics.
Because she was elected, people could envision another black woman being elected to represent them. Without her trailblazing victory to the United States Congress, there's no one, I believe, who's a woman, no one who's a black woman, and no one who's someone of African descent who don't see her as an icon.
When your children or grandchildren ask...
While things may have improved, this year's election campaign has exposed the challenges that women in politics continue to face. 40 years after Shirley Chisholm ran for the White House, all eyes are now on Hillary Clinton to see if she too can make history by becoming America's first female president. Being both black and a woman, Shirley was no stranger to prejudice in Washington.
Part of her kind of motorcade in the late 1960s.
But those who have studied Chisholm's life say it was her gender that created the most obstacles. So is America ready for a woman in charge of the White House?
I think we are ready for a female president. We're behind the other parts of the world. I think what this campaign has shown us is that we still have significant sexism within politics, and it's something that Chisholm talks about a lot during her run for Congress and her run for the presidency.
Please go, take people there.
If Hillary Clinton manages to shatter the glass ceiling and win the election, Shirley Chisholm's dream to change the face and future of American politics could become a reality. And joining me here with me is Amira Woods from the Institute for Policy Studies. Thank you very much, Amira. How easy is it for a woman to survive in politics here in the U.S.?
Well, it's very difficult. Let's remember the U.S. Congress, which is the body that represents all legislatures, has about 18% women. So it's very far from countries, South Africa, the list is long of countries that are well over 40%, right? And of course, Rwanda tops that list. But here in the U.S., it has, at its historic high, only reached just barely 18%, right? So the task is very hard for women in political life here in the U.S., as it is for countries around the world. But these glass ceilings, as they say, are being broken. They're being shattered as we speak, and we hope there will be many more to come, not only in the U.S., in my country, Liberia, but in many countries around the world.
Talking about this particular campaign, which candidate do you think will have a better relationship with Africa?
Well, I think that one is clear. From the two candidates that remain, you have one candidate, Donald Trump, who is very much xenophobic, many say racist, also misogynist. If you think of U.S.-Africa engagement, there are a lot of question marks in terms of what a Donald Trump presidency would bring. Probably the biggest question mark is on this question of immigration, where Africa already is suffered from severe cuts in immigration to the U.S. Legal immigration to the U.S. has been dramatically cut, and it is expected that, I can't even say a President Trump, should that to occur, would further erode any opportunities in diversity visas and other opportunities for immigration as he builds his wall, right? So clearly, President Clinton could mean more of the same from an Obama administration. More of the same, some of which is good, like support for human rights, support for economic rights and women around the world. But more of the same is also more of the global frame of terrorism and the countering terrorism frame, which has militarized U.S. engagement with Africa, which could be detrimental, right?
Thank you very